Yeah, this song beautiful right here. Codecast, we're live. Phrase, R, M Child, Sellers, DS, Wells. You know, we're about to introduce you to something beautiful. Yo, with us, you know, grind is a given. Either cooking something the chef or I'm spitting. Came from the bottom with nothing, the top chillin'. We do it for hood legends, those past are still living. With us, you know, grind is a given. Either cooking something the chef or I'm spitting. Came from the bottom with nothing, the top chillin'. We do it for hood legends, those past are still living. I'm trying to be well known.
Once again, grind is a given. All Shades Phrase featuring R. Brentwood RP. Let's go! This show was brought to you by Active Chiropractic Care, located in Comac, New York, and Aligned Posture leads for success to foster. Say the promo code SUPERSTAR15 and you will get a complimentary spinal examination that'll lead you on your journey for peak performance. This show was also brought to you by Long Island Fitness Experts Alliance. Get in contact with the Life Alliance trainer and you will be guaranteed to add life to your years. This episode is very special to me, not only because it's airing on my 30th birthday, but also because Dr. David Ackerman is interviewing me, seeing how the other half lives for a change. Let's kick that good game, y'all. RJ Carter here, live in the flesh. So I wanted to start off by asking him some questions today. We're gonna flip the tables and turn the tables here. So the first question I have is, please tell us what the game is about and what it means to you.
Wow, good question. Game is so universal. There's different types of game. There's fitness game. There's social games. The social dynamics, that's what they call it. There's everything has a point that you can advance with, I feel. So sports, obviously games, sport games. There's beginnings, you're starting out, you might not know how to do certain things, like for example basketball. I played basketball my whole life. You just want to play. You just want to run around. You don't have the skill set yet. You're just enjoying the game for the game. You see it, you want to be that person one day, hopefully, or maybe not, you just want to play it just to play it, but you have a visual in your mind. You don't have the skills yet. So then the skills come through work, through dedication, through just the love of it. Then from there, there's another set of game that comes. All right, now you have the skill set developed. What happens here? Do you want to take it to a level where maybe you want to play for school? Do you want to keep it as a thing, just a social activity? Or do you want to pursue this as a career? And then there's games towards that. There's a level of game towards that. How do you make a team? How do you stay on a team? School is key. You got to have good grades to even be on a team. Not always technically. The standards are a little low depending on how good of an athlete you are. But at the same time, that's someone that's letting the game use them. You should always be on top of your schoolwork while advancing your skill set.
Beautiful. So I like how you talk about gaining advanced mental excellence in a way of sports and then also comparing that to life. So you're basically talking about your ability to take your game to the next level, and there's different levels that you can take it. So with this, I wanted to ask you as a trainer, that's what you do on a day-to-day basis. You help people take their game to the next level. So is this something that you think has helped you with your training as well as your clients, taking them to the next level?
Wow, you really prepared for this one, man. I like that. Honestly, yes. It's just, you have to. It's the thing about game, you're not aware of it. These are just activities that's like, all right, say being a trainer. You're doing it for a long time now. There was a point when I started out, I had that vision of where I wanted to go. How do you get there? There was no blueprint, really, to it other than what was around me. You could read a book and say, this is, you do these exercises here, and this is going to help with your program. But they don't show you the business, the everyday dealings that go on with being a trainer. Because, let's be honest, there's a lot of theory and a lot of application. And sometimes there's too much theory, not enough application. Where I call that the little gray area. You got to just work with what's around you. So with theory, it gives you a great blueprint to start with. But if you're so mechanical, you lose sense of that application part, because you're so focused on the theory. Mm-hmm. You're missing the big picture of life, and that's game. You got to be open to everything. You got to be open. Like, say, for example, you have it in your mind, I'm going to train my clients this way. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have your doctrine set. Now, what happens if somebody comes in, a different client that's not with anything that you want to do? How do you deal with that? How do you wheel them into your, I use the expression, bring them to your wheelhouse. How do you get them on board with not only your philosophy, but how do you expand your philosophy to, deal with their needs?
Interesting. So you're saying that you have to be dynamic as a trainer, and that's where you're constantly looking at different angles. So it's not maybe just advanced mental excellence. You might have to start off with a physical or nutritional approach with certain clients. If they come to you and you say, look, I want to elevate your mental performance and I want to help you think like an athlete, and they say, well, I'm just here to lose some weight, you might have to change your script on them and go from a different approach.
Well, my thing, as you progress, you realize you give people what they want, and we've spoken about this, off record. You give people what they want, but wrapped in, most importantly, what they need.
Absolutely.
A lot of people want to come, I just want to look like the person on Men's Health, Women's Health, or whatever magazine, because that's the ideal that they see. That's the image that's been put out there in terms of perfection and fitness. Mm-hmm. But in reality, these people are taking pharmaceutical drugs, they're doing all these different, things that the everyday person doesn't have access to, and they're not a portrait of health. They're just an ideal that I'm not going to say isn't attainable. You can attain it, I believe so. And that's the quest that I've been on as of late. To have a certain look, but be healthy doing it. And even if you don't look like that person, that's fine. But be the epitome of what you can be. And that's what I believe as a trainer that you should put into your client's head. All right, I see that image there. You have that visual. That's great. But there's certain things that it takes to get to that point. Where do you really want to go realistically? Where do you want? And then from there, they're going to say, oh, well, honestly, I kind of just want to, I just want to maybe lose 5 or 10 pounds. I want to be able to, do a 5K, or want to be able to do a pull-up. Then it's like, okay, we have things to work for. But, we got to work on these other muscles that are, you have a lot of imbalances as well. Cover those imbalances. 'Cause that's going to make you stronger. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, and just from your experience, you're a trainer as well, and you've been doing it a long time, and, being a chiropractor. The benefits of doing accessory work and fixing those, corrective exercise, how great is that? We overlook, when you're training at a gym, just working out, you overlook that.
It's fundamentals.
Yeah,
it's a foundation.
It is, but it's neglected fundamentals that I feel was weeded out because corrective exercise, for most people, it doesn't, not aesthetically pleasing.
Which is funny because if you correct their posture, you automatically correct their appearance, and it's the perception that people see. It's like a bodybuilder on stage. They practice their postures, their poses,
right,
and that's what gives them the appearance of looking larger or more symmetrical.
Right. Bodybuilders years ago, was about proportions. Mm-hmm. Now, it's about mass monsters. There's no shape. The shape is gone. Shape is beneficial. Pardon me, I have allergies, so if I sound congested, I apologize.
You sound good, man.
Thank you.
So talking about bodybuilding, yes. What is your take on bodybuilding currently and also previously? How do you think it's changed over the years, and what direction do you think it's going in?
Oh, you were good, man. I'm loving this right now. Bodybuilding years, okay. Growing up, the first image I saw of fitness, I have 2 images. It was Lee Haney.
Sure.
Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia. And it was a Bugs Bunny fitness book. I'm actually going to post it on one of my social media outlets. And Lee Haney was a standard at the time, 8-time Mr. Olympia, like I stated before. And bodybuilding then, people consider that massive. It's progressively gotten more massive and less appealing. You're a child of the 90s. 80s baby, but you grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
I'm sure you saw all the fitness things on TV. I don't know if you were watching TV like that back then. I was a big TV guy. And my mom did jazzercise growing up. Mm-hmm. So we would watch a lot of those TV shows that had fitness. And, people think fitness has exploded now. It's always been around. It's just because the world has gotten smaller, we see it as, wow, this fitness boom. No, the boom's been here. It's just other countries had their outlet that we didn't see. Now we can see everything. And with bodybuilding, I feel, I kind of went off on a tangent. My apologies about that. But bodybuilding today, here's the thing. Would I put myself towards that? Obviously not. But I respect these guys, and I feel like they get a bad rap for what they're doing. They're playing the game that they're in. This is the game today. I feel there should be two different classes. There should be more of a classic look. They have physique, but physique, for the most part, they don't show legs. So they should have a look that shows the classic bodybuilder, like the Schwarzenegger era, and even Steve Reeves and guys older than that. And have guys like these mass monsters today. And I feel with that, you're going to see a hybrid shift come. Because I feel with anything, if one thing is a wave, then another subculture comes. And then the world starts to merge.
So you're thinking of almost a merge between bodybuilding and functional training, where it's almost aesthetically appeasing, so you're getting graded on how you look, but also how you can perform.
Well, that's how bodybuilding competitions used to be years ago, like in the 1930s and 40s. They would have, feats of strength early.
Really?
And then at night they would have the bodybuilding competitions.
Wow.
Because your body, your body was a representation of your performance. That's how they viewed it back then. So that would be nice to see, but bodybuilding now, they don't train for that. And people discredit these guys for being weak. These guys aren't weak. These are strong individuals.
Sure.
It's just they're not specialized for strength. They're doing different things. Just like a mixed martial artist, you can look at a mixed martial artist and say, oh, he's not better than a standard jiu-jitsu practitioner. Of course he's not going to be, because he has different disciplines of practice.
Just to change gears for a second, you said earlier how the world is getting smaller.
Yes.
And I imagine you were implying social media, Facebook, and the internet, how there's so much more out there and people are that much more connected.
Yes.
So what is your take on the internet? How do you feel that that's affected the training profession? Do you think it's a good thing where people have more resources, or do you think that it might be giving people too much information and they're on their computers more than they're actually at the gym or doing activities that they should be doing?
Well, you're a natural. You should be doing this more often, honestly. Very good.
Just learning from the best. Just taking notes from you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. What I would say is this. When it comes to social media, I think it's a great thing in terms of usage. It's how we use it with anything. Everything has its good points and its bad points. I believe that there should be some critical thinking with social media, where not all information is good information. Someone could challenge my thoughts now, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how we learn. Someone could discredit something I say in this interview. I'm willing to learn, as that person should be open to another response. Say, maybe, why do you think like that? And from there, that's when dialogue comes about. That's when change comes about.
Right. So
that's how the world grows.
It's a little one-sided with the internet, and too many people have opinions that don't have the knowledge to back it up.
There's Pseudo Scientists. There's a lot of that. They call it bro science.
Sure.
And my thing is this: theory and application. I am pro theory and pro application. There's guys that'll tell you, listen, train arms every day. Would I personally do that? No. Do I feel the need to? No. But for that person, it works. But there's consequences with that. Train your arms I'm doing biceps every day. Yeah, your arms may grow at some, to a degree. But you're going to have joint problems just from the repetitive movement. Who knows what the drugs that these guys are taking? That makes a difference. It's one thing to have information to be put out there, but if you're withholding information for the sake of your advancement, that's a problem to me. So I'd say just put it all out there. Like, listen, I'm on steroids. This is what I do for my activity. This is what I do.
So with all this information out there, it sounds like even with that, even though it's at people's fingertips and they can go on the internet, they can find workouts, they can find nutrition advice, it's almost so overwhelming that you need a fitness professional, somebody who is in the flesh, to guide you through it and to actually show you what's best for the individual. So that's where I think personal training will never die out.
Right.
You can invent things on the internet all day, but there's nothing that will ever replace the human connection and somebody getting inside of your mind, understanding what your goals are, and then devising a plan specific to the individual. And that's what you do best as a trainer.
Right.
So what are some of the most vivid memories that you have working with people that have helped you get inspired, and what keeps you going as a trainer? What are some of your best memories and things that keep you inspired?
Wow, there's so many. There's so many. That's a whole podcast in itself. That's a whole series. I could say the best for me was training my first client. Hands down, was training Chuka Label, and I've done an interview with him. And Chuka was a guy from the neighborhood. I'm from Brentwood, by the way. He was about 2 grades younger than me. I went to school with his brother. And Chuka was a good basketball player that had aspirations to become a Division I athlete. And he called me. He called me one night. He was crying, like, I'm not going to make it. And I told him, listen, I got you, man. We're going to the gym tomorrow. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was so certain that, listen, it's going to come to me. We're going to make something happen. And sure enough, we trained for about 2 to 3 weeks during the winter session. And he came back. He averaged close to a triple-double, and that's 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. You know, you could have 20 points, 30 points, but it was 10-plus over in 3 statistical categories. And he did that, or was close to that. And that's a big jump with only 2 to 3 weeks of training.
Wow.
So I learned very early about myself. With training, I'm very goal-oriented. You know, there's the goal and the task. Because I feel that's the best advertisement. You get results. You know, there's one thing to train them. And we all have had clients that just, wow, we're going through the motions. They're not getting much out of it, but they enjoy their company. And sometimes we feel that makes us look bad because it's like, all right, this isn't my best work here. Don't judge me by this person's lack of commitment and effort. But at the same time, who knows, you know, to bring it to a broader perspective, who knows what that person's intentions are? Maybe they just want company, do their workout. So that's okay. Nothing wrong with that either. But if you want some hardcore stuff, you come to me.
Right.
If you want some softer workouts, and I feel like that's the thing too. I feel like training is all about hardcore. You can't do that for that long naturally. Your body's going to break down. And even guys that are on, you know, performance-enhancing drugs, their bodies break down. They have freakish injuries because they're so overworked.
Right. So, talking about Chuka, I'm actually fascinated by what you did in 2 to 3 weeks to get this person to have a double, triple. So, through 2 to 3 weeks.
Triple-double, by the way.
Triple-double?
Yeah.
All right. I'm still learning.
Don't worry about it.
So that's where, is it a mental adjustment that you did? You know, 2 to 3 weeks, you can only enhance someone's performance so much. So I know you were training him like an elite athlete, but what do you think you did in those 2 to 3 weeks that really brought his game up a notch?
Open his mind up. Open his mind up to the person that he really is. And that's one thing I do with training and even group exercise. Seeing where their weakest points are, and like, listen, let's go beyond it. And they're going to say, wow, you know, just the automatic resistance and kickback. I can't do this. I can't do that. You can. Depending, you know, you got to assess the person also. Because there's some people, and I feel trainers, you got to know who you have. Because there's some people that physically can't do a push-up. Don't make them do 50. That's number one, that's going to hurt them, that's going to discourage them. But if a, you know, more able-bodied individual, a lot of it is mental. Just showing them you can do this. And once they see they can do it, that opens their mind up. So I just take the chains off and just let them run.
So what are some of the things that you did with Chuka? You know, what's one thing that pops out in your mind that just pushed him?
Wow, these are secrets of the Jedis. Wow. Wow. What's one? It was actually I took a drill from the movie Blue Chips with Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte, and they had a broom, and you had to shoot over, and it's a standard basketball drill. You know, to shoot over a taller person. So what I did was I sit on a chair. I'm like, you'll never face a person this tall. But if you can make this now, picture what you're going to do with somebody 6 foot and over.
Oh, nice. You did some sport-specific drills.
Yes.
And also some visualization at the same time.
Right.
That's great.
And once he was able to make shots, I was like, all right, shooting in front of someone that was like his height or even taller with long arms, it's nothing.
I think that's excellent. You know, most people would just try to run him and have him do drills all day until his physical conditioning improved. But
Right.
you said, let's work on the mental game, and then the physical is easy. That's something that we can do, overnight. Just
Right.
giving him the right exercise routine, but you were working on the mental component, which is where his blockages were.
Right, and that's just how I approach fitness, and not every client was receptive to that. They're like, I just want to go. What is this? I'm like, all right, we could do that too, but at the same time, that feels cheap to me. And it's like, I'm just taking money now. And I did away with that. I became very selective after a while. I wanted a certain client base.
So you want to dive in and really get to know people and find out what it is that drives that person.
Yes, because it was, and it's funny, you guys, at the Life Alliance meeting, was it Chris Calder was talking about the pull?
Sure.
And I think that was from you guys, right?
Pull, that was all him.
That was all him, okay.
Absolutely.
Finding that pull.
Yeah.
And you do that through, I'm good at observing people, as I feel you should in this industry. Observe a person, how they walk, speaking to them, what kind of words they use, how their tone is, tonality. Just basic eye contact. Something, these little cues. Like if you're just darting away, if you're fidgety, that's not an actual word, but people just moving around a lot. Like, okay, all right, we can fix some things here. Things in your practice. You have to be observant.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So you're observing everyone. You're observing how they sit, how they stand. If their neck is leaning a certain way, if their neck is too far forward, just all the postural, cues that you need to correct.
Absolutely. That's the sign of a great trainer. Somebody who's truly in tune with their clients. Every movement, every body language. There's so much more, like you're saying, than just the spoken word.
Right.
And I think that's what makes you one of the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Listen, you say all the right things, man.
Just speaking from the heart.
Thank you.
And my question for now is, as far as the advancing in mental excellence, I think it's such a great term, because mental excellence, there's so many things that go into it, and we're talking just now about the physical component,
Right.
and there's other components. So what are some of the other things that you think help you advance your mental excellence? What are some of your best daily practices that you do?
Okay, here's the difference. I'd say books. Be an avid reader. Be an avid learner. This Bob Proctor has a great thing where he's like, either, there's no such thing as a learned person. It's either you're learning or you're not. And continue to learn, but at the same time, have critical thinking skills. And I've said that before. Not all information is good information. Take what's useful to you. And this is Bruce Lee. I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. Take what's useful for you. Reject what is useless for you. Because what's useless today may be useful for you tomorrow. But for right now, it may not be. And those are the basic things that I could say. Just reading, being a good person. And that's such a broad statement, like, how are you a good person? Some of the most horrific people in history could be considered good people to the people around them. So it's all perspective in that case. But I would say good, being a good person, what I mean by that is just being someone that's willing to help others advance themselves. No, that was no plug there. Just willing to help other people, because you gain so much more, but don't do it in a way that you're seeking something back, because that's not truly helping people, that's really helping yourself. So be more of a giver than a taker.
It's great. And they'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on nutrition when it comes to your mental performance and your health, as far as that component? Do you think it plays a small role, a large role? And what are some of your nutritional habits that you think help you perform the best?
Nutrition is key. It's so beneficial. As going to Fountain yesterday, I realized that there's a few things I need to work on, hence the allergies. But that's what it's about. It's what I'm doing now. I'm basically trying to cleanse my body. So I'm getting a lot of mucus out. And I feel, removing the joint pain and, it's mucus and inflammation to become an optimal human being. Because that's my vision. My vision for humanity is to be, you're able to live for 200 plus, 300 years, 2 to 300 years, you're able to perform at a top level, an optimal level, naturally, for as long as you're able to function. And again, there's certain standards to that, and someone could say, oh, he sounds like a quack. Is it delusional, or is it being an optimist? And you have to be delusional to be optimistic, to a degree. You have to see you have to see things that people don't see in order for change to occur. And with nutrition, I just feel like what you're putting into your body will help you do that longer.
It's your fuel.
It's your fuel.
Absolutely.
You put cheap gas in a car, that baby's not going to ride. It's just not.
That's right. It'll save you money short term.
Yes.
But long term, you'll end up breaking down,
yes.
and eventually it won't get the same longevity out of your body or your car.
Right.
It's well said.
Thank
Absolutely.
You. Thank you.
Well, speaking of years and life and longevity, I know that you have a birthday coming up.
Yes.
So I wanted to first start off by saying happy birthday a little bit in advance.
Thank you so much, my man. Thank you. And then also, you had a birthday a few weeks back, so happy birthday again. We had a great outing.
I love birthdays.
Yeah. We know.
Off record, right? So that's where, to me, birthdays mean so much more than just a celebration and gifts and a party.
Of course.
And that's where it's almost like an individual New Year's.
Right.
And what is this birthday? What is this year? This new year on this earth mean to you? And what are some of your goals for the next year?
I made it 30 years. That's a plus. There's people that were around me that aren't here today. And for me, I want to live through them. Not live through them, live for them. Because they didn't get to experience 30 years. And that's first thing. And also, too, I look at life as a season. And this is the new part of my fitness journey, my fitness career. So 30 to 40 is a whole different game. Just like 40 to 50 will be a different game. And then beyond. So one of the practices is going to be meatless Mondays.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't eat meat on Mondays. I attempted it before and it was rough. I was a vegetarian for 4 months and I did it incorrectly. But doing research, I just want to reduce the inflammation in my body. I want my body to function optimally. And also, too, the fact that as a meat eater, we consume too much. Too much meat. Not that, there's people that can say, oh, meat is bad for you, meat is the sin of all things. That's their opinion, that's open interpretation. That's another conversation. But for my development, for my personal growth and development, I'm going to cut back. 1 day a week. And then also during the week, eat less of it.
Do you try to eat organic meat, or what type of meat are you talking about? Is it all meat? Is it red meat? What are your feelings on meat?
There's benefits. There's definitely benefits to it. Even I was actually listening to this guy a few days ago, and he was talking about that. He takes a creatine supplement because as a vegan, he just can't sustain the fullness in his muscles, so he takes a creatine supplement. Me personally, I don't want to take powdered creatine. I just don't want to. For my growth and development, I don't need it. So I would rather get it in its purest source for me, which is meat.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with supplementation. I'm a heavy believer in it, but it's certain supplements that I prefer to put in my body. Just like another person may say, no, I'd rather put in such and such brand, because for me that works. That's fine, and there's positives and negatives to everything. Even stuff I'm putting in my body, there's positives to it and negatives to it. And I take it as such.
That's a great way of looking at it. So, talking about you a lot, which we don't really get to do. This is great. I'm learning from this, and I'm definitely taking this in and benefiting from just interviewing you.
Thank you. Honestly, it's funny, I really don't like talking about myself, except when I'm at home.
Okay.
Only because I was just like, oh, my day was good. This is, it's my time to vent.
Right.
And I'm going through it.
Well, this is our time to learn more about you. So that's what I want to do. I want to learn a little bit more about RJ. So
Sure.
Tell us one or many things that people don't know about you. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's something that you like to do, or Or just anything?
Oh, there's a lot. I try to be, and this is the thing, there's a lot of people that want to be broad for the sake of being broad just as a conversational piece. That was never my personality. It was just things I always did things, and I still, to this day, I do things because I'm into them. I don't do it because it's a new wave.
Mm.
So even like, for example, like, drinking alkaline water, that's more of, there's people that are doing it now because it's, for the most part, people are going to say it's trendy, but it has so many benefits. It's like, okay, this is going to advance me. Boom, I'm on it. Switching. That's it. It wasn't let me do this today because it's this is 2015. This is what I have to do. This isn't like how they say facts now, or that's funny because in 5 years I'm like, wow, he said facts. That's so old. Mm-hmm. Facts is like a new slang that the kids use, or like it's slang currently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they say facts with everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like an old man. Honestly.
Well, imagine how I feel, because I didn't even know about that word.
Facts.
So, alright, so I just learned some new facts on facts.
Exactly.
Well, see, I love, so the fact that you're doing things differently for yourself. What are some of your hobbies outside of fitness?
A lot. Martial arts. Love boxing. Actually, I'm planning to do a jiu-jitsu tournament this year. Mm-hmm. Part of my development at 30, I want to start doing more martial art competitions.
Wow.
I would want to do one amateur boxing fight. I would love to, just to do one. What else? I'm trying to think. Music. Big into music. Done hip-hop. Since I'm trying to think now. When did I first record? I was 14 when I first recorded. Started writing raps when I was 11. Mm-hmm. Love writing poetry. Love writing books. Writing stories. And I'm big into comic books.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I used to love fashion as well.
Uh-huh.
Fashion's a little bit not to my liking now. It's a little too out there for me. I don't, I always admired the looks of the runway, mm-hmm. but I never wanted to dress like I was on the runway. For me, it's too 80s glam rock for me. Not my cup of tea. But for those that do it, by all means, enjoy yourself. That's part of your growth and development. It's part of your journey in life.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of depth to you. As a trainer, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and then as a person, there's so much more to you.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And that's where you're able to connect with so many different types of people, because you have such a variety of hobbies and interests.
Yes. Yeah, that's something my friend actually had mentioned to me. He was like that you're into a lot of things that you can speak to people about different things. But also, too, we all have a common need, and when you break down humanity, it's all for survival. Mm-hmm. Everything else is details. How we go about it are the details. Mm. We're here to survive, replicate, die. Everything else after that is details, your personal interest. Mm. So once you break it down that simply, or simplistic, using the word wrong, once you break it down like that, then from there it becomes, all right, I could get along with this person. Like, there could be a person that just hates me just to hate me. You're human beings trying to survive. Listen, your hatred towards me is one thing. We have a job to do. Let's achieve the task. Let's accomplish the task. You don't have to talk to me during it. Mm-hmm. But as long as there's a respect for the work, I can separate the personal side.
Well, then talking about survival, whether it's in the fitness industry, trying to survive with being a successful trainer, or just trying to survive from day to day.
It's all survival.
What are some of the tips? What are some of the pearls that you would give to your listeners that's going to allow them to survive, or I should say thrive, in their lives?
Wow, it's hard because my journey is different than everybody else's. My conditions that led me to this point are different than everyone else's. Mm-hmm. What I can say is, take what is useful for you, reject what is not useful for you. What's another one? Let me think about this. Let me ponder. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy it. We're so focused on getting to a higher ground that we never enjoy where we are. Don't get comfortable with where you are. Enjoy it. Like, this is great. My sights are here, though. I'm here with everyone, but I'm looking to advance myself. I would love for you to come with me. Some people just don't want to. And there's nothing wrong with that. To them, they reach their peak. My ceiling's different than everybody else's. Just like your ceiling's different than everybody else's. Our ceilings could be the same. Yours could be higher. Mine could be higher. It's just perspective for us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I love it, man. So you are the definition of a visionary in my mind.
Wow, thank you.
And that's, just once again coming from the heart. Like you said, you see things a certain way, and that's huge. That's so important.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you the same question. What is your definition of a visionary?
Wow. Okay, definition of a visionary. It's funny, like I did try to think about it, but I'm going to keep it organic. A true definition of a visionary is the everyday person that has a vision, right? We all are visionaries, all of us. We have a vision. Let's look up the definition of visionary. We see things. The difference is the execution of that vision. And we let life take us off that course or never, because say we're putting effort towards something and we get derailed. Or we have that vision that comes in our head and we choose not to use it. And then 5 years later, you're like, wow, I thought of that. That vision came to your head for a reason. That was your time to execute. That was your time to put it out. But you chose rather to not put that vision in, for vision out there. So my definition is someone that has the ability to capitalize and share their vision. And not only share their vision, but to empower others with the vision they present.
Wow. So kind of like yourself with this podcast.
Listen, I'm just doing what I wanted to do, honestly. That's, I appreciate that. And also, too, the reason I put this out was because I feel I know a lot of interesting people. And I'm like, I think they're cool. Let's put them out there. Oh, you got mail coming in. Let's let everyone else see what I see. Or maybe they won't see what I see. But that's fine. At least they have the platform to do so.
So talking about a visionary and how somebody who has a vision, but not just a vision, but then they're able to take that action step to put it into fruition so it comes true.
Yes.
And then inspiring people around them to see their vision and also to help the movement of it. What are some of your goals for your podcast, for G.A.M.E? And what are some of the things that you'd like to accomplish with this in short term and long term, so that if you can share with your viewers what your vision is and what some of the action steps that you're looking to do moving forward to the future, what would you say they are?
My plan, and it will happen, I'm going to have an expo. I'm going to have a fitness expo. I'm going to have not even just fitness. It's going to be fitness, of course, because that's a part of my life. But it's going to be a human progression expo.
Wow.
Because I'm a big Iron Man fan. And the Stark Expo I did, which was basically taken from... Do you ever watch Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you remember the whole thing with Howard Stark, and they had, like, the whole intro, and he's speaking about was it the World of Tomorrow? I forget exactly what it was, but that was just a take off the World's Fair, and that was also a take as well as Epcot Center, Walt Disney film.
Okay.
His video. And those ideas, like, wow, that could be done with fitness. And the gears just started rolling. So that'll be my life's work, to have that vehicle. And also, too, film. Movies will come out. Documentaries will come out. All the things that I wanted to do as a kid that I still get excited for, I will put out in my life. And there's some ideas that I'm like, listen, I may not have the time to do it. But the main things that I want to put out there, I will. To inspire the next group to go to another level as well.
It's beautiful. I'm glad I asked you that question. And for people who are listening, and for your fans, your supporters, what are some things that they could do to help support you and to help this vision come to fruition? And that's I think more of a long-term vision.
Absolutely.
So what are some of your short-term goals for the G.A.M.E podcast, and how can your viewers help?
I honestly want to help. Tell your friends about it. Watch the videos. Absorb that good game. That's all I can say.
I love it. Well, I think on that note, I'm going to bring this to a close because I've learned so many fascinating things about you today that I'm glad that I got this opportunity, because when do you get a chance to sit down and just connect with someone like this and ask them questions that you would love to know more about, that you just don't take the time?
Thank you. And also, I do want to thank everyone that I've ever learned from. And there's so many people to name, but you guys know who you are because I've told you. You're one of them.
Thank you.
And thank them all for inspiring me to do the things that I'm doing now.
It's a beautiful thing. Well, I'm happy to be a part of your life, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you succeed.
Definitely.
I'm the latest on the road to greatness. Instead for me, there's a different route that I am taking. I learned from Boogie Pop what to do and how to make all the right moves. So I'll cruise in control of this lane that I'm going in. I'm showing men how to write rhymes and flow again. I'm going in, I'm zoning in. Focus on my part of sharp, right to the pole, man. The showmanship, yeah. Many were gone with the trend. Gone was the pen, they was gone with the wind. Frankly, they're showing me they don't give a damn. The scarlet letter I'm writing, I have the pen in hand. I'm real Joe Pesci with the pen in hand. Every chance I'll get, I always have the pen in hand. Any artist in need, I'll extend my hand. Show them that the island's big enough for any man. I'm the greatest in the world, man, I know I am. Wake up every day so thankful that I made my plan. Lost in the shuffle for a moment, now I'm back again. Now's the perfect time to formally go to show this hand.